What's going on, everybody? It's Buddy. It's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC reality check, and you don't see my pretty sexy face, so you know I'm not alone. Mr. Jake DeMarco, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, bud? Thank you for having me here yet again. I'm excited to be back and talk about some Sesame Street NXT.
I was going to say, excited to be back to talk about some potentially really depressing shit.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, essentially, but it could be better, could get worse. We'll see what happens here. I mean...
Not at all coincidental that I started reviewing Dynamite this week. Not at all.
No, not at all, but... people say, "Oh, you jumped ship." It's like, no, I ran away screaming. There's a difference.
And you know what it is as well, like, NXT, they're about to kill my boy. We're going to talk about that in a second.
They spent 4 years essentially training Adam Cole for him to
debut on Dynamite.
Debut on Dynamite, you know what I mean? Oh, wow.
So he can yell at Tony Schiavone for hitting on his wife.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was really well done. I don't care what anyone says. That
and then Daniel Bryan confronts Kenny Omega, and everybody like yanks their cocks off. It's fine.
Hey, it's a match that a lot of people have wanted to see for a long time.
I can't deny, like, I've always, and I still say, like, Kenny Omega.
I still want to see it.
Kenny Omega's a great wrestler. I don't get the God status thing. I'm never going to get the God status thing, but I can't deny that it's going to be a good match.
Oh, it'll absolutely be a good match. I'm in your boat there. Like, I never view him as this amazing wrestler, but he's certainly damn good.
My thing is, like, it's going to be an amazing match. And I'm going to watch that match wishing I was excited about it as, like, the Bullet Club marks are. But I'm also going to be thinking, like, Daniel Bryan, with the way that he wants to, like, help people, or I should say Bryan Danielson, I guess. I
just call him Bryan now.
Yeah, it's the safe way to go.
Easy.
Exactly,
sadly.
But it's like, you figure that the one to go after Omega, just because their views and like where they fit in are slightly different, you figure Punk would be the one to go for Omega, and Daniel Bryan would be the one helping the mid-card. So I picture Daniel Bryan working with like a Darby Allin, a Jungle Boy, a Orange Cassidy, even like I would love to see. I mean, he's facing Adam Cole next week, but I would love to see Daniel Bryan versus Kaz.
Yeah, think about that. Adam Cole already debuting, in the ring next week.
Basically, what I said
is that not crazy? I mean, really
I mean,
not.
They're doing a whole bunch of strike while the iron's hot, and there is a downside to that, but we'll get to that when we get to it. I just think eventually, because I'm sort of getting back into Impact, so my view is slightly different. You got Adam Cole versus Kazarian. It's basically NXT versus Impact on Dynamite.
Yeah, basically, and it's kind of amusing, kind of stunning at the same time, And
again, you get somebody like Kaz. That's somebody I would love to see work with Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah, no,
because
you know
he's gonna, like, with Kaz doing the whole Elite Hunter gimmick. Daniel Bryan, if he's going after Kenny Omega, is definitely going to be part of that team, for lack of a better term.
Absolutely.
Kaz and Daniel Bryan. I mean, the tag team champions were Kaz and Daniels. It's not that far off. Anyways, unfortunately, and
soon enough we'll have Mount Rushmore return.
Oh, Jesus Christ. When did you ever think I would say this? Unfortunately, we're not here to talk about AEW, we're here to talk about NXT. And I really wish that wasn't unfortunate, but it is. We have seen the nail in the coffin, the season finale of NXT as we know it. Because this weird, whatever it's going to be, this weird hip-hop, rainbow-colored, pride flag looking NXT debuts next week. And I don't know what to expect. I sort of thought that, like, they would hint towards something, like, even not necessarily give away the store, but at least the commentators would mention, hey, we can't wait to see you guys next week, we're going off on this brilliant new direction, or whatever they'd be fed to say. But there was nothing. There was
there was absolutely nothing.
There was the painted commercial that we see during Raw and SmackDown. And I will say, the one small positive that I've seen so far, if that drawing is accurate, that new layout of the CWC, or whatever they're going to call it, looks bigger and more open and not so claustrophobic. So, from an aesthetic point of view, that's a change that might be okay. I'm not all about the bright colors, especially when you've got, like, how often has NXT been referred to as the black and gold brand?
Yeah, no doubt. And It makes a difference, it really does.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work for everybody. I mean, it goes in with my tastes. I know my tastes are not the same as everybody else's, but the whole sort of like hard rock aesthetic of NXT, especially when they came back and they sort of redid all the logos and came up with this, like I say, like Art Deco rock goth thing with the skull and the whatever, as opposed to just being the gold letters. I thought that was really cool. Not necessarily because everything has to be dark and serious, but like within the context of NXT, it created, at its highest points, it created a counterpoint to what Raw and SmackDown are, where everything's bright and colorful, and there's an LED screen on every surface we can find, and it's all bright blue and it's bright red, and everything's like poppy, and all the music is pop music, and like the stereotype that Triple H just sort of pulled out whatever CDs were in his car, and I'm like, that's only a bad thing if it's a bad thing.
Exactly, or that Vince forced him to have a heart attack.
Oh, can we talk
by
about
letting Adam Cole go? Poor Hunter. I mean, all really joking aside.
Yeah.
Yale, New Haven is
I will
literally
say,
the hospital that I last stayed in when I had all that coughing up blood issue. So I've been admitted there, and that's where he was. So it's not like it's that far away. And
hits close to home for you for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I will say, there's as much as there's good things to draw me to AEW at the moment, and hell, it got Guapo back on the show, and I haven't had Guapo on the show in forever. There's some
some time.
There's some AEW people being weird about the Triple H thing. Like, the constant joke that I've seen is like, the Wednesday Night War finally almost had a casualty. Like, that's fucked up.
Like, that's what you have to say right now?
That's fucked up. And, I mean, like, so quickly after, and I mean, we touched on this when we did the All Out preview with Guapo. I haven't really had a chance to talk to you about it yet, but, like, so quickly after, like, we just had the thing where with losing WCW star Daphne,
yes.
And all the negative situations.
Literally, from one night to the next, it was like she was there, she wasn't.
Well, I remember reading it, and you guys were in the middle of doing the show, so, bad time to try and get a hold of you, but I was like, is this for fucking real?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want to put it out there like that, like, I'm just following a news story, because it's fucking terrible.
It was.
But like,
very,
just in the wake of that, just in the wake of that, to have people like, like, darn, he survived, he's gonna be fine because he's WWE. Like, it's weird, man. Like,
it is.
I will not claim to have the moral high. Like, I come out here and I talk a lot of shit, right? Like, we all come out here and we all talk a lot of shit. I don't claim to have the high ground very often, but this is one of those genuine situations where I can, like, say, like, be fucking better.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Not cool. Anyways, getting back to the business at hand, we sort of went on a detour there, which is always fun.
Just a wee bit.
Part of the reason that I can't look, and we're going to look forward to next week and what next week might bring us, and it's sort of a season premiere of sorts. Part of the reason that I don't know where you're sitting, because I know you've only seen part of NXT, but I'm not feeling the season premiere, because I don't think we really got a season finale this week.
No, we certainly didn't. I mean,
there was stuff
some of
to
the
like.
matches were okay, but most of what we got was just kind of filler, it felt like, and that was kind of AEW's problem this week as well, but at least theirs was more exciting, certainly.
Yeah. I got to give the credit to
NXT,
AEW.
I don't feel like there's any big star. There's like nothing that I'm looking forward to watching. I mean, the Bachelorette party was really, really silly, and we knew it was going to be, but
okay. I have something. We're going to get to the Bachelor party, and I'm going to rant about that.
Well, it started with the Bachelorette party, I'm saying, and then the spying and all that crap, and then it just elevated to total nonsense.
Yeah. I will say, like you said, nothing really happened here, nothing really happened in AEW. AEW had, this week, what I used to say for NXT sometimes. Nothing's going to blow the world away, but it was very functional. It very got us to the next place it needed to be. And
slow progression, but some progression.
AEW, though,
storyline progression.
Like, the things that they're leading into is Shawn Spears versus Darby Allin. They're leading into MJF having a feud with the Pillman family. Like, they're doing Bryan versus Omega, and people know what I think about Omega, but objectively, that's huge. You know, you had
it's going to put butts in seats, and I'm wondering if they're going to do it at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I didn't have Punk versus Taz in a promo battle on my bingo card. Like, that was, like...
See, that's something I did expect happening, because Punk said he wanted to work with 5 people, specifically.
And one of them is Starks.
Darby Allin, Will Hobbs, Ricky Starks.
Yeah. I expected him to work with those people, but I wasn't expecting on the night after his first match back. I wasn't expecting specifically Taz, specifically Taz and Punk dueling on the mic, because
I didn't say anything about you.
Oh my! And that wasn't a promo. That was him like listening to Taz cut his promo and be like, nobody said anything about Team Taz. Like nobody. Like don't even worry about it. But I think like. And the thing is, it's funny to say because he's been on commentary, and after he left wrestling, he had his podcast and his daily show that I listened to forever. I think, despite all that, I still think Taz is underrated on the mic, and it's unfortunate that he's not in wrestling shape anymore, but, like, how good a mouthpiece is he? It's like every time you talk
he's
about...
excellent, absolutely.
You talk if CM Punk was still in WWE, you would say, oh, let's do Punk versus Lesnar so we can have Punk and Heyman on the mic. Like, this is the same kind of thing. But, anyways, getting back to my initial point, AEW did what I would call in NXT a very, very functional show. Now, there wasn't anything popping off, but like, it gave you stuff that you're going to pop about later. Like, I'm going to be reviewing Rampage on Friday, and I'm looking forward to that. We're getting Andrade versus Pac, which we were supposed to get at the pay-per-view. We're getting a really... interesting, if not exciting, women's trios match, which is kind of cool. Yep, and Max Caster is going to tell somebody off, and it's going to be good. I'm excited
to see how he looks coming back.
See, now the difference between AEW having a sort of not as exciting, more functional show, and NXT having a not as exciting, more functional show is even if they did develop something on this week's NXT. It feels like nothing matters because everything changes next week. So what are you developing? I will say a highlight was Ember Moon versus Kaylee Ray. Ember Moon was the perfect opponent to introduce Kaylee Ray to the sort of like the mainstream NXT crowd, if you want to say that. She loses.
Yeah, absolutely.
She loses. She cuts a promo in the back afterwards. You know, I'm really tired of losing. I'm not going to pretend to, smile and shrug it off. Like, I know what I have to do. Now, if we are going to pay attention to what's going on in NXT, everybody else says, I know what I have to do, automatically means a heel turn. I hope it means her reverting back to her more, like, female Finn Balor, like, demon, the sort of image that she had when she first came in.
That would be awesome.
When she came back and she had this sort of, like, post-apocalyptic, almost biker, almost pop star, almost rock star thing that she's got going on, which is fine. But I if she wants to sort of revert back to the other, because let's be real, that's when she was having her own success, I'd be down for that. I don't necessarily want to see Ember Moon as a heel, because I don't want to boo her.
Yeah, exactly, but no one wants to.
No one wants to.
Really?
It's not the situation where Britt Baker got over, but she got over as a heel, so leave her as a heel so people can cheer the heel. Like, that's a very unique situation. It's Becky Lynch as a heel is not going to work. Like, everybody's just going to look at her and be like, yeah, what she's saying is true. Why would I boo her? She's stuck fighting Bianca Belair again. Sasha Banks is on another vacation. It's fine.
No idea where she is at this point again.
Well, I mean, there's not a big enough payday. She'll show up for... am I lying at this point, though?
Well, was SummerSlam not a big enough payday? I mean, that's weird.
I mean...
It must have been huge.
Yeah, but I figure in that case, she thinks she's going to get the credit backstage of stepping aside so that Becky could have her moment.
Jesus.
But I mean, like, she came back for WrestleMania, because she knew WrestleMania would have a crowd, and she knew that they would throw the belt on her to give it to Belair. And then she fucked off again. And then she came back just in time for crowds. Initially, she came back just in time to be handed another big title match at a Big 4 pay-per-view. And where is she now? She's fucked off again. If you're going to nail down John Cena, if you're going to nail down Goldberg, if you're going to nail down Lesnar, if you're going to nail down all these part-timers, Sasha Banks is a fucking part-timer now.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's like, and it's not even like I'm crying about that, because let's be real, I'm not. She's got more forehead than me and less talent. People are getting really upset.
doubt.
People are getting really upset that I'm hyping up Kiera Hogan on AEW, and specifically in the Casino Battle Royal, because she's better version Sasha Banks. But I mean, she hasn't ended anybody's career yet, so
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah,
she hasn't gone ahead and Nia Jaxed anybody at this point.
But anyways, it was a really good match. It was a really good setup for Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray looks like a badass. I don't know where she goes from here, because I don't think we're going to get Kaylee Ray versus, what's her name, Gonzalez right off the bat.
I don't think so either, but
I don't
who
think
do you think's
I
next
want to
then?
see that, but I want to see that later on down the line. I don't want them to hot shot it.
Who's next then? Who's next for the title?
I wouldn't mind a steady string of, like, contenders that you know aren't going to win, but just like, hey, here's somebody that's been working for a long time. We haven't really given them a moment to shine. Like, if you decide one week that Raquel Gonzalez is going to come out and have an open challenge or something, I know that's the laziest thing in the world, but like, if she has an open challenge and like Kaden Carter comes out and answers the open challenge, we know she's not going to win, but let her go out there. She's mostly known as a tag team person. Let her show.
Yeah, typically she's just a tag team performer.
But like, for one, like, you can have a one night thing like they did with Shotzi when Io was the champion. Like, you know she's not going to win. It's very much in the vein of an exhibition, but like, for one night, let her go out and shine a little bit. And
yeah,
the size,
exactly.
the size difference makes it a cool
something better than what she has been allowed to be.
I mean, we're going to get into who she's facing next week later on. We already talked about the bachelorette party. I think the only funny thing about the bachelorette party was Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter not giving a fuck about the bachelorette party and just like wasting time on TikTok.
them no-selling it was the only worthwhile thing.
The good thing about it was the people that didn't care about it.
Basically, and I should almost like want to penalize them for that, but you get my point.
I do. Well, and then they stuck in the obvious joke, and it's ripped right from a sitcom. But like, her friend that came over all the way from Australia, and it's like, no, I came to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, exactly. Like
everything around it was kind of funny, but this didn't actually work. What did work for me?
This was just not what it could, should, or needed to be. What
did work for me on a lot of levels, and I think it sort of went under everybody's radar because I think there's sort of like a meh over this whole show. I've heard people sort of neutral on it, and I've heard people actually dumping on it. I really liked Santos Escobar versus Carmelo Hayes.
Did you?
Just as a match, I did. I mean, at the end, you've got, okay, Lopez is the newest person of the group, so she's going to be the chick that comes in and body slams the dudes. She is for them what Zelina Vega was for Andrade, because Zelina would always pop into the match and head scissor somebody. I think she adds a little bit more to the group. Now, whether that's going to be effective long term is fine. I really like Carmelo Hayes, and considering the changeover very soon is we're getting people that have never wrestled before that are like 7'10". He got in there just before the door would have been shut. So I've got, not necessarily to say that everything he does is going to be fantastic, but because he's already interested me in like the less than 10 matches that he's had, he's already got my interest, so I've got a lot more time for whatever he does, because I don't think him and Escobar is going to be a long-term thing. I think it was a way to get them both on the show.
No, I don't think so either. I think that was pretty much close to what, I think everything's going to get kind of a soft reboot, or even some of a hard reboot, to be honest with you. At this point in time, it really feels like that's the case. Like, this is what we're getting.
I think they might keep the groups. They might just sort of change what the groups are.
Yeah, what they do, or
there was
who they were facing. You know, they'll change some of the stories and that kind of stuff, I think. But
yeah, I really like Hit Row. I don't like we're in the studio, but let us take a break from the studio to cut a promo for a second.
Yeah,
I think that's getting a bit cheesy.
Go ahead, and that was weird.
I think that style of promo is getting a bit cheesy, but they did at the end of the day hint that BFAB is not particularly happy with Elektra Lopez's inclusion in this ongoing battle. So the implication there, if it wasn't said flat out, is that we're going to get Lopez versus BFAB at some point, which is interesting. At some point,
yeah.
Because we've seen Elektra Lopez in exactly one match, and she was just there as a jobber at that point. She was there to be another body for somebody, I don't even remember. And to my knowledge, unless you are going to remember something that I've forgotten, I don't think we've seen BFAB in a match.
I don't think so either, honestly, now that you say it.
Because we were all wondering, like, is she there to wrestle as well, or is she basically there to be their manager, their hype person, their whatever? And don't get me wrong, for anybody out there that's saying, like, I'm trying to put everybody in, like, pegs and holes and whatever, if she was there to be there...
people can identify how they want. That's not the issue. It's just they're not doing anything at this point, really.
Yeah. No, but if her goal, if what she wants to be for them is that manager character, that hype person,
yeah, that's fine.
That's
fine.
Like
like that's the case.
But they have to find a way to clarify that. They have to find a way to say, okay, don't expect her to be in a match because she's not a wrestler, without actually saying, hey, she's not a wrestler. So
did they have that mixed tag that didn't exactly work out?
You know what? It's all a bit of a blur.
I could have sworn it was like 4-on-4. That's why I can't remember at this time.
They did the trios. Match,
maybe that's
sure.
what it was. But.
What it was they did the trios, and because BFAB was on the outside, making up the numbers type thing, that was how they introduced Lopez.
That's right.
So all 4 of them were involved, but it was a 3-on-3, or sorry, all 8 of them were involved in the match, but it was only a 6-person tag. Unless there's something way before that I'm forgetting. And you know what? Even though it's not that late, it's already tired in here. I might be forgetting something. Say something about the Creed brothers that's not nothing.
Nothing?
They come across to me, and it's funny because I do think Roderick
so bland. I'm sorry.
I think they come off as, like, intentionally bland. Like, does that make sense? Like, every now and then, it feels like every 5 years or so, you get...
That makes total sense, honestly, and that's the problem.
No, but you get that, and I mean, these guys aren't nearly as charismatic, obviously, but you get that team where their wrestling gimmick is that they're wrestlers.
Yes.
Like, you get Team Angle, for obvious reasons. You get American Alpha, for obvious reasons.
American Alpha, they were good wrestlers, but they also had some... spunk and spontaneity and purpose and rhyme or reason. These guys are just like, we're here.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean, though? Like, when they came out, their presentation with Team Angle, obviously, it was because they were literally led by an Olympic wrestler. Okay, cool. That was sort of unique at the time. But every other...
Now they don't have an Olympic wrestler. So they don't even have that going for them.
And their leader is Roderick Strong, who's not that.
Exactly. I feel like he's more of a hindrance for them than a positive, sadly. And I hate saying that, but really, that's what it feels like, because what does he offer them?
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels to me like, and it's harder to describe because I'm not bashing specifically that. I'm bashing WWE in general, but it just feels like, it's been 5 years or so. Let's send 2 guys out in singlets, and they're wrestlers, and their gimmick is that they're wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously they're in good shape. Obviously they're big fucking dudes. Obviously they throw people around like empty tracksuits, to borrow an Adam Nicholas expression. But, like, they're in there with designated small jobbers that are in there to be jobbers and make them look big. Like, we just talked about Carmelo Hayes, who got in there under the wire of what the new NXT wrestler is going to look like, and then we get these guys as
exactly.
It's not Raiden. Who's the bad guy from Mortal Kombat?
Shang Tsung?
Yeah. You know when he starts the tournament and he's just like, and now for a taste of things to come.
Yes.
If this is a taste of things to come, I don't want it.
I don't want any more. Count me out. Yeah, absolutely. Right there with
Spaz Phoenix is all elite. Like, fuck.
That cracks me up still to this point. Really,
you know what? Okay. What I will say, I can't stand the Shirai and Stark team. Like, they're only reinforcing my theory that they're booking Shirai as a racist, which is insane.
At first I really laughed at you when you said that. Now I'm like, maybe he is onto something.
Like they're the team.
Honestly, I'm not even joking around anymore. Like I really feel like you kind of really are onto something with this.
But see, here's my point, and here's where I take myself out of my own head and into WWE's head, right? WWE, they're about to come out with this brand new NXT, this brand new poppy, colorful, energetic, effervescent, whatever.
I'm poppy.
Oh my lord! Yeah, the funny thing is, it's going to be really poppy, and probably the last artist they're going to ask to come in is going to be Poppy.
Yeah, because she no longer fits their.
Yeah. But like whatever we imagine this new like rainbow fireworks aesthetic to be, wouldn't Catanzaro and Carter fit that new mold?
You would think.
I thought like so much. Now after the match, now they get made to look like shit because they are the team that is tight. They're best friends. They've got all. If you watch any of their Instagram shit, they do more shit that is so in sync. It's insane, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they get beaten by the team that doesn't get along. And so not only are they, okay, you're not championship caliber, just a reminder, you guys are down here, but also they look like shit because their teamwork is all for naught.
Every time. And
now
they never get any sort of recognition for it, even though they are completely incredible and decimate regularly.
Mm-hmm. And they made the Bachelorette party watchable.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, I will say, the one tiny saving grace that I am actually more interested in is they got jumped after the match by Mandy Rose's new, I guess, faction with Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Still don't know what happened to Cora Jade. Cora Jade's still a missing person. That's kind of sad.
Yeah,
but like,
she'll be released probably next week.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Shirai and Stark are the tag team champions. I'm more interested in Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter's next opponents than I am about them getting a title match. That's bad. Like, that's really bad. I really like Gigi Dolan.
I do as well. What's her original name?
Yeah, I was gonna say I missed out on the whole Priscilla Kelly thing. Like all I knew about the Priscilla Kelly thing was the infamous tampon spot in the bar.
That's all most people knew, and sadly, she's so much more than that. But she just never really got to show it.
She's another one, and you know how I say like people take up all the space they want in the ring with their like presence. She's one that hasn't been there that long and already has kind of established a little bit of that for me. The JC Jane, not so much. Haven't seen as much of her. But if they're going to come in as part of a gimmick under Mandy Rose, who borrowed Sheamus's face mask for the evening, it's fine. I'm more interested in that. Yeah, really. I'm more interested in that. You know what the funny thing is, though? People were making fun of her, saying that she had the Sheamus face mask and all that. Oh my god, WWE's just like, they can't even buy 2 sets of props and whatever. But I'm like, as boring as it is, they both work for the same company. They both go to the same medical staff. They would get the same prosthetic for the same type of facial injury.
Oh, exactly.
Like it does. Like as boring as it is, it does make sense.
Unrealistic.
It's not. Yeah, it's not out of nowhere. It's not out of laziness, which is a thing.
Just that's how the prop department operates. So that's what you're going to get.
Okay.
And that's what people don't remember.
Okay, we got to move on to this. Dexter Loomis's bachelor party.
Do we have
I will say Odyssey Jones bouncing Drake Maverick to the moon, who then went on to Raw and is back in the 24/7 title picture. So yay! Along with Jeff Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, lucky us.
Good God! But here's. I
mean, seeing Jeff Hardy there, I'm like, oh dear God, really? I mean, you beat Cross for that. That's what you're doing now.
But I will say, of all, like, it's just a bunch of silly stuff. They went and did some laser tag. They had a more fun party than the ladies did. I'll give them that much.
But, you're not wrong.
But I mean, here's the thing: the whole thing was funded by Cameron Grimes, right? The whole thing was about Gargano and Loomis, getting acceptance and getting ready for the wedding or whatever, right? Yeah. Think about in all the times that you and I have done previews for shows, reviews for shows, topical videos about shows. Hey, most of the show is good. Don't really like the Loomis in the way stuff. Most of the show is really good. I really could give a damn less about Grimes and Loomis. Most of the show is good. Grimes and Gargano, I'm sure, did something at some point. Months and months and months of this being like the sore tooth of the show. And now they're all just friends.
Yeah, now it's
Jake, help me out here.
Okay, everybody can get along, and
Jake, help me out here.
I really wish I knew what to say, because it just doesn't make sense at this point. I'm not getting it, so
I don't.
That's my problem.
I got nothing.
It's not adding up. It's not making sense. It's not.
But it's so
Why
much
are
time.
they all okay with this?
It's so much time of giving whatever they were doing the benefit of the doubt because the rest of the show was fine, or giving them the benefit of the doubt because the linchpin in the middle was Johnny Gargano and he's good. But like, all at once, like these 2 or 3 things that you've been that you NXT fans have been tolerating for so long, all of them in one segment, big middle finger. Like, low key, this might have been the most offensive thing on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
I got nothing. On the other hand, you get something equally ridiculous that
why are they getting along? What, I agree. It's just pointless.
Well, they're getting along because there has to be a wedding next week, and they're getting along because Cameron Grimes has money.
But I mean, there's ways that they could have made it more interesting without doing it that way, obviously. That's the problem here.
Oh, you're not wrong. But I'm just pointing out that there are reasons. They just don't make any sense. And just, I have this bizarre image that next week, like, Cameron Grimes is going to go online and get himself an online priesthood, and this wedding's going to go to the moon, and I'm going to shoot myself in the face. And it won't matter anymore.
Minister.
Yeah, and it won't matter anymore because I will have been shot in the face. Now, take all that silly stuff that I just shit on, come to silly things that I like. We finally got the long-awaited debut of the 1,000-year-old Dragon Lady.
Oh, God. And
I'm going to guess that you hated this.
I'm okay with the stupid, but this was really, really stupid. So
I don't know. I like that she didn't just, like, a lot of people on a lot of other podcasts, specifically What Culture, they're like, oh my God, they've built her up as this big monster, and then she's going to have to eventually get in the ring and throw on a headlock. And they didn't really do that. They basically said, go in the ring, like, go after this woman's throat until she's dead.
Yeah,
so
basically.
They gave her, and it was a squash, obviously, so there's not much to go on. But I will say, like, they gave her an arsenal that kind of makes sense. It's like, first week out, still giving it the benefit of the doubt because I don't learn my lessons. I love how ridiculous the Tian Sha story continues to be. And the way they presented her in the ring, because obviously she wasn't out there in all her robes and shit because she had to wrestle. She had, like, what I guess is going to be her wrestling gear. She did make me think of, like, a lot of the Spooky Girls on Impact.
Yeah,
and they do, like Impact leans more into the Elseworlds type stuff. It's kind of why I hope, side note, that Bray Wyatt goes there instead of AEW. Because Tony Khan said, like, he didn't even like the Matt Hardy teleporting stuff, right?
Yeah, he wasn't a fan of that.
It's not a huge landing platform for him, but I think Impact is so much more set towards the creative style of a Bray Wyatt. But she kind of made me think of Impact, and it's been a while since I could say, hey, this actor makes me, or this wrestler rather, makes me think of Impact or TNA, and that hasn't been a bad thing. So maybe they've tapped into something. Let it go. Maybe. For the people that aren't into this stuff, for the people that hated the Fiend and his cock fingers, and the people that don't like what Alexa Bliss is doing right now, I get that they're not going to like this either. I 100% understand that. But this is the kind of ridiculousness that I can get on board with.
I'm okay with ridiculousness, too. You know that. Like, yeah. I don't mind stupid stuff, but I don't know. It feels like they already kind of, like, were like, get it?
Yeah,
like,
and I get that too. And I get that too. It's sort of like Shotzi's tank, right? I like it. I think it's cool. I think it sort of adds to her character a little bit, especially after she gave a little bit of explanation for it. For the people that want to say she's driving to the ring in a plastic tank, that's ridiculous. I don't really have an argument for you. I just like it. You know what?
Yeah.
And
like I always liked the tank
in wrestling,
because I liked it for the personal reasons that she had.
Yeah.
Because it represented her brother and all that shit. So.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, it's always nice to have that bonus little thing, right? But I think and I don't want to get on a soapbox here, I really don't, but like for us that come up here and talk about it or get on Twitter and talk about it, have a podcast, have a YouTube channel, have a Twitch, have a whatever, and sort of like have fun sort of picking wrestling apart, you do need to leave a little bit of space on the top shelf for I think this is fun. I just like this. I don't have a reason. I don't hate it. And
every now and again, it's okay to not like something for any particular reason, and it's okay to enjoy something for no particular reason. Just
it's okay to like something and not know why.
You don't like.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like,
not everything needs a reason. Just have fun.
If you walked away from a segment or a show and you felt good afterwards, it obviously wasn't Raw, and that's just okay. Sometimes there's not a reason. Sometimes there's like the, shitty metaphor, but like sometimes the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts. Now, if we broke down the Mei Ying character, I just keep calling her Dragon Lady, so it's fine. But like, is it sustainable long term to have an entire arsenal that only focuses on somebody's throat? Probably not. But as a target, the throat's not exactly a bad idea. Especially if you're going... I don't know whether she choked her out or whether she was doing her own version of the Tongan death grip. I couldn't tell.
Everybody's weakness is the throat.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the chink in everyone's armor.
Hey now, watch it. But I was just saying, like, and I talked to other people after the show was over, because the way it was shot, you couldn't sort of see a good angle of it. You remember the Tongan, like, what's the name, Ming, with the Tongan death grip?
Yeah,
and it was,
I remember.
Up under the jaw and on the throat. I couldn't tell whether what she was doing was that, or whether it was like a choke out pin thing. But either way, but at the same time, it didn't matter, because whatever it was,
like a weird pseudo combination.
Yeah. And it's cool though, because it does walk the line, because she's not like the Undertaker. She's not out there pretending to be dead or whatever. There's like a little bit of a mystical element to it, and a little bit of like a cultish element to it with like the followers that she has. Who knows where Xia Li is? It's fine. Don't worry about it. But I don't know. Like as a squash match introduction of a character, I didn't hate it. It looks like it has the potential to be fun. And like I say, I'm drawing comparisons to the things that I like in Impact. So if I can compare it to something that
absolutely.
I like if I can compare it to something that I like somewhere else, then it can't be that bad. Main event was solid.
It was well wrestled, but it was just boring.
It was there. See, now MSK is the prime example of what I was saying about Catanzaro and Carter. Like, MSK seems exactly in line with this sort of new image, new vibe, upbeat, colorful, whatever.
Yeah.
They tried to play off the dissolution of the Kings of NXT as this big dramatic thing, and I'm like, no. Ridge Holland just came back. Danny Burch just came back. Even though I like Pete Dunne, I'm a huge fan of Pete Dunne, the most entertaining member of this group is now doing commentary on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm not lying there.
No, you're not. And I don't know why he's not in NXT, Pat.
You know what, though? Here's the thing.
He could be doing double duty.
He could be doing double duty, for sure. Among all three shows, they don't really... They've been doing that on SmackDown the past few weeks.
He's already a heel on SmackDown, though. He could be a heel on both shows, commentary on one and manager on the other. And he would instantly make this group, again, more recognizable, more star-ridden, Not
but then
star-focused.
Then you run into the issue that I have. We talked about Taz earlier, and I love Taz. I'm super biased as far as he goes. The way he tries to walk the line between manager and then going back to commentary and being like an unbiased commentator for the night, like when Excalibur is off getting married, so he's on commentary this week. Congratulations to Excalibur, by the way. But it doesn't always work. Like, I don't believe that you're there for the betterment of your guys, and then
but he's been... I will give you this. Taz certainly was more of a heel. He acted like a heel for the entire night.
True. But I'm saying, like, he's had several instances where he has been the filler because Excalibur hasn't been there. And he flips this switch from, like, totally unbiased play-by-play guy to, oh, let me tell you how badass my guys are, to, I have this totally unbiased view of the entire company. Let me tell you what's going on in the ring right now. Like, it doesn't work, in my opinion.
No,
it works if he's
it doesn't.
It works if he's there like on commentary as the manager role, like because his guys are in the ring. Don Callis does the same thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
But don't try to present him if he's in that role, and as I say, doing really good in that role. Don't try to then pass him off as an unbiased commentator. It might work for some people, and I'm not telling anybody else they're wrong. I'm just right. That's all. I don't know. It kind of ended on a wet fart because the Kings of NXT imploding was the end of the night and went over like a wet fart. Now, going into next week.
Well, hold on before even going into next week. There's only a few things keeping my interest in NXT right now. Sadly, the women's division is not as great as it once was. It had many casualties without replacing those casualties, I feel like.
Right.
So that's been an issue, because usually when they have new people come in, they replace what they lost.
Yeah. I think that's what they're doing with Kaylee Ray.
Move up. Yeah, so Kaylee Ray was a good addition, but I feel like there's been more star power gone.
More lost than gained, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So now the big issue is really who becomes the next big star, who gets the focus, and they are slowly building a few people, but no one is at the top, really. Even the champion doesn't feel like a top contender.
Right.
If that makes sense. The champion didn't feel as big as Io Shirai or even as big as several others. Even an Ember Moon, I don't feel like she's on that level even, sadly.
Right.
Because they haven't had many feuds for her, and most of her wins have been pretty straightforward. I feel like they could have done a lot more with the whole Dakota Kai situation, but that's for another time. Point being, we need stars, and NXT only has a few left, and the rest are very lacking. Now, they are getting new talent, but the problem is it's going to take a long time to build up these people, so what do you do in the interim?
And they're going to be the Creed brothers.
The roster, the main roster? That doesn't help. That doesn't fix anything. That's just more Band-Aids on bullet wounds. So.
If it was me, honestly, and I know I keep going back to these same two names, I don't want to see a whole bunch of crossover between Raw, SmackDown, and going back and forth with NXT. Two names you bring down to NXT for short runs separately, because they're never used properly on the main roster. Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, those two would be great. Even The Miz, believe it or not, I think would work quite well.
Miz is one of those things that would either slot in where he needs to slot in, or it would fall on its face. And I'm saying that as a Miz fan.
I think it would work quite well, honestly.
Yeah, no, it definitely has the potential. But you get, as weird as it sounds, get Ziggler down there, like way too full of himself, way too like I was a nobody on SmackDown, but at least I was on SmackDown. This is just NXT. And then who's obviously going to be offended by that is the NXT champion.
Yeah,
exactly. You could build not necessarily the world's greatest program, but a pretty damn good match between Dolph Ziggler and Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing: Samoa Joe is the biggest star they have right now.
If you take the handcuffs off Ziggler, because
Ziggler to the wayside.
Ziggler is like really, really, really WWE style. So give him a little bit more freedom and see what he does with it, because we've only ever seen him in WWE.
Oh, no doubt. But
Cesaro, I mean, everybody that watches the Indies.
The big issue right now is the fact that they lost the Undisputed Era, and as a unit they felt big and important, but on their own, the only one that really was a star was Adam Cole, and now, in my eyes, he's gone. They're building Kyle, but
I mean, Roderick Strong's going to be fine. He's got the next great faction in. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly, and he keeps losing members, and so it gets to be painful after a while to see them lose people, lose focus, lose progress, all for essentially nothing. I mean, Adam Cole, they gave so much to in NXT, and it's not his fault for leaving. I don't blame him. How could anyone blame him, really?
See, I was saying, I don't know whether I said this with you or when I was on the podcast with Guapo. Adam Cole leaving WWE is completely different from every other person that's left WWE, because Adam Cole, like, okay, he's got the star power, but that's not really where I'm going. Everybody else that left WWE, you could see why they were pissed. You could see where they were misused. You could see where they were struggling to get over, right? Adam Cole, from the minute he debuted in NXT, virtually until he left, was always treated like a champion, always treated like a big star, always treated like the biggest thing in that brand, even when he wasn't the champion. So, somebody treated so well...
Yeah, I don't want to say handed the world, but close enough,
well, he kind of
right?
was. And I mean, like, he deserves it. Don't get me wrong. But, like, somebody that was treated so well still walking away from the company is a lot more impactful than...
It's baffling.
Yeah.
Like, we get it because the main roster sucks, but...
From their point of view, it's got to be baffling.
It's more surprising than other instances have been. Yeah.
I mean, like, even though he's being very diplomatic about it, apparently, Daniel Bryan has reasons to be pissed. CM Punk obviously had reasons to be pissed. Wyatt had reasons to be pissed. Ruby Riott, or Ruby Soho, I should say.
She absolutely has reasons to be hurt, upset, pissed,
Aleister Black, Andrade, all these people, like, you could predict them walking out the door.
Look at how exciting he is right now, Black.
Yeah. I mean, he's stuck in a feud with Cody Rhodes, but be that
he's going to lose to Cody, that's coming at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if he beats Cody again. Oh, my God. I'd be so happy.
Nah, you're not going to go too straight against Cody Cena. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not happening. He's getting that shovel out, but still.
I just think, like, all of them walking out is almost predictable. It's almost a foregone conclusion, right? If I had told you, like, whatever, what was it? What was the last one we previewed before COVID hit? It was Portland, right?
I think so. I think Portland
I think for us, TakeOver Portland is going to live long in the memory, because that was when TakeOver died. But, like, I don't even remember what he was doing that night. But if I told you then, because it was probably something high, he probably had a title match, or he was in something with the Undisputed Era, which was the biggest thing going on in the company at some points. If I had told you then, yeah, he's going to walk away scot-free, dusting his hands off, you'd tell me I was crazy. Like, there's something about the Adam Cole transfer that's going to have an impact that I don't think we realize yet. Because people are going to look at Adam Cole and be like, yeah, he was treated way better than me and he still left, so what am I doing here?
Oh, yeah.
That's going to factor into the Kevin Owens thing for sure.
Away from the mic.
Yeah. That's going to... Apparently, if you were following the news that came out today, apparently their big plan for Adam Cole, and this is only hearsay, I cannot verify this at all, he was going to go to SmackDown to be the mouthpiece for a heel Keith Lee.
Yep.
What kind of
manager?
What kind of bullshit sandwich is that?
I really wish I could fathom what they were smoking, thinking, deciding on, because it just doesn't make a lick of sense.
Okay, here we go. Keith Lee shouldn't be a heel.
It's not that hard.
Keith Lee doesn't need a mouthpiece.
Nope.
Adam Cole...
He does talk weird on the mic, but...
No, but he has... I know, what was it you guys always say on the Joe Show, the Mr. Gentleman speech.
Yeah, but on Raw...
Are you gonna kiss the guy?
But no, sounded that way elsewhere. It was only on Raw that it was so bad.
But here's the thing, though, right? Even if it's something that you can make fun of, if somebody else can do an impression of you, then you've got something unique enough about you to do an impression of.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's a backwards way to get to a compliment.
It may not be for the best reason, but you're still standing out.
But Keith Lee shouldn't be heel.
He certainly should not.
Keith Lee can hold his own on the mic. Adam Cole shouldn't be donating all of his charisma to somebody else. And Adam Cole should be fucking wrestling.
He really should be. That's all there is to it.
The thing that's bumming me out about all this is we missed out on the opportunity to have Adam Cole versus Roman Reigns. Because that could have been so good.
But we gain a lot more, I feel like.
Or Adam Cole.
A lot more dream match scenarios for Adam Cole. That's true. Going to AEW now than...
I think you could have had something really interesting with Cole and Balor taking on the Usos as well. But...
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hell yeah, there's possibilities, and...
Can you imagine
certainly intrigued for a lot of things.
The combination of a Panama Sunrise followed by a coup de grace.
Yeah.
Followed by a Styles Clash, because it's now a trios title.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as we try to not divert to the other guys, because we're sort of having a funeral for NXT right now, before we talk about what NXT next week is going to look like, there is some cool shit on the show. There's the wedding that we've already talked to death. Gonzalez is defending her title against Frankie Monet, which will be interesting if nothing else. I like Frankie Monet.
It will be intriguing.
I like Frankie Monet. She's got something about her. I'm not delusional. She's not winning the title, but
we know that much.
She's taken over she's got the Frankie Monet brand now, because it's just her and Robert Stone and Jessie Camilla, because
she took over.
Because we traded Aaliyah to the main roster and got Mandy Rose back. And Mandy Rose is doing her best Sheamus impression. It all comes together. But we do have a Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match next week. Ciampa, Kyle O'Reilly, LA Knight, Pete Dunne. Please take LA Knight out of this match and have it a triple threat instead. Like, if they want to do like a pre-angle where LA Knight just gets taken out by like a truck or something, I'm totally cool. Yeah. I'm totally cool with that.
We're okay if that's the case.
They do have to, as much as I've constantly been a fan of Ciampa, and as much as I personally have a bias towards Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly has to win this match, man.
How could he not?
I've said it before, and I know I've said it with you. The next time he's in the title picture, he has to win. Or he's like solidified as the perennial guy that's in the picture that's not going to win.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, that's for sure.
He becomes Kofi Kingston in the Elimination Chamber, except he won. But, like, before he won. if you get my meaning, but like...
I get your point.
Like, he's getting another title shot, isn't it? Oh, that's cute. He's going to make Joe look real good. You don't want to be thinking about that, because he could, like... Kyle O'Reilly, like, I don't want to keep saying it, but, like, imagine a main event on Dynamite, Bryan Danielson versus Kyle O'Reilly. Like,
yeah, I mean, that would be amazing.
I can't even do it. Like, fuck. I can't wrap my head around any of this. It's got like Ciampa. As much as I would love to see him go after the title again, he's had it quite a bit. He's been part of the main event scene quite a bit. He also has the tag team thing going on with Thatcher. LA Knight can go suck a fuck. Pete Dunne is sort of in the Kyle O'Reilly camp, where it's like if they put him in the picture again and he doesn't win, he's going to be in that sort of perennial, like, hey, here's somebody that's going to make our champion look really good. And I want to see Pete, like, title or not, I want to see Pete Dunne versus Samoa Joe at some point.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I want to see him snap Joe's fingers and have Joe, like, no-sell it.
And there's a lot of things that they can do, too.
Is there a way? Can you picture a way where Joe counters Pete Dunne counters the Muscle Buster into the bitter end?
Oh, that would be incredibly sweet.
I can't picture the logistics of it. I had that thought, and I'm just like, no, because you're coming off and you're on the other guy's shoulders. You would have to come down while holding on to the guy, get him up. It would have to be a full rotation and then into the bitter end. I mean, I'd love to watch them try as long as nobody dies. But you got to go in 5 minutes. What's the best and worst thing we can get out of this new version of NXT next week? I've already said the layout looks kind of cool, kind of decent. If that means they're getting rid of the fences and the plexi, I'm all for that, because that
we could see a total change. Here's the thing. The positive is it could be a renaissance of sorts in the sense that we see a total new booking style and a refresh, and we get something really cool from all the stars, and it's like, wow, we needed this, and we get something positive here. The negative, it could just be what we expect, more main roster bullshit from Vince and Bruce.
Rematches every week, and every show starts with a 20-minute promo train?
Yeah, basically, and it ends up being, more BS and more BS for nothing.
I just hope
that's not what we want.
If we're going to have a more lighthearted, like I say, more bright, more colorful atmosphere, I hope that they use that in the right way so that the couple of people that are intense, like your spooky dragon lady and Samoa Joe, who's not exactly a joker, I hope you use that bright new rainbow fireworks aesthetic to make those couple of people that don't fit it stand out rather than get watered down. Because you could,
that's
could
my
be
hope
done,
too.
It could be done really effectively. You could have this big bright show, and then all of a sudden everything goes black, and that's how you know Mei Ling is coming out. Like, that contrast could help her character. Or they could just try to make her bright and colorful too, and Mei Ling becomes Saray number 2. And I love Saray, but we don't need 2 of them.
Certainly not. No, we don't.
On a side note, cool thing about Saray, we haven't seen her in a couple of weeks. If you follow her on Instagram, she puts out these videos once a day, and she's teaching all her North American fans like a new Japanese word or phrase a day.
Oh, really?
I think
that's cool.
I think that's really cool. I really do.
That's a good way to use your, I don't want to say star power, but yeah, basically
it is star power because you're encouraging your newfound base to embrace you in a certain way, but also because she's teaching English people how to speak Japanese, obviously it's probably helping her speak English as well.
Yeah,
she's not that bad. She's not that bad anyways. Like, to be honest.
But at least she's working on it. That's impressive to me. That's something that I really appreciate.
I don't know. I just think she's really great. I think the contrast of her being super happy, smiley, and whatever, and then like destroying people, is kind of terrifying.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, her music starts out all happy, and then it sort of like kicks in with a little bit of rock, and her personality does the same thing in the match. I think that's really cool. For all the generic music that they have in WWE right now, her music actually fits what happens when you're facing her. And that low dropkick is dirty.
It is badass, no doubt about it.
Anyways, so we're talking about Saray. Saray isn't even on next week's show, but
I don't know when she'll be back. She's one I've not heard any, specific thing about, sadly.
Yeah. It's Super Happy Rainbow NXT. We don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know yet, but I'm hoping it's good, regardless.
I am too, but either way, it is, even if next week starts us off in this magical, new, unexpected, positive direction, it's still a funeral this week for NXT as we knew it.
Oh, absolutely.
And on the same week that Triple H had his baby taken away, he also ended up in the hospital. So that's a bit...
Coincidence? I think not.
That's a bit... low-key, he's not having a good time right now.
No, he's not having a good time at all. So hopefully he's okay, all joking aside.
Yeah, hopefully he's all doing okay. We touched on it at the beginning. Hopefully the family, friends, and fans of Daphne that knew her way better than we did are coping well as you can in those types of scenarios. And people out there in general, especially on Twitter and social media, just, don't be dicks.
Yeah, just try and remember that, people are human and...
Yeah. Get out there, be an asshole, be opinionated like we are sometimes, but, don't go where you shouldn't go. There's my PSA for the night. Anyways, we're actually going to get you out on time to go do Joe stuff, so why don't you tell them where to find you?
You can find me on The Joe Cronin Show or on Twitter at Countdown Ended.
And you can find you here as well.
Absolutely, you can find me here.
That's the new Kristen thing. When we do this little end bit for FlixFix, and she basically doesn't do anything else. I'm like, hey, Kristen, tell them where to find you. You can find me here.
I love it.
Anyways, you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz. He's been Jake. We are mourning the death of NXT. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Super Sexy Jake DeMarco are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Peace.